committed to the cause because this is my 50,000 mile long-term review of the Nomad Lane Bento Bag version 4. Let's get right into it. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Desmond. I make content about tech and travel gear, and it's not often that I spend too much time with a particular bag or suitcase. You've seen my channel before. I test a ton of gear across travel and tech, but I've got the Nomad Lane Bento Bag here, and over the last 5 or 6 months, I've been bringing it on every single trip because I committed to testing this for 50,000 miles of travel. And in that time, I've done 3 trips to London, I've done Sydney, I've done cross country to New York and Chicago. So many different trips with this bag. And today we're going to talk about some of the pros, the cons, and what I like most about using this bag as my long-term travel companion. So first, let's just talk about the bag itself. I have a full review up on my channel as well, but this is the Nomad Lane Bento Bag. As you can see here, it is a duffel style bag, which again, gives it a good amount of storage. It's about 24 to 25 liters of overall storage, and for me, especially for long-term travel, I think this hits a bit of a sweet spot. And then let's talk a bit about the materials. That makes a big difference in how well a bag will hold up to extended use. So this is made out of a high quality nylon as well as leather here. So it's got a bit of a hybrid construction. Majority of the bag itself is made out of this weather resistant nylon. That's also one of the reasons why it can hold up so well to all types of travel situations. The nylon, it's mostly waterproof. Grime, dirt, scuffs, scratches don't happen as common with nylon versus, say, an all leather constructed bag. But with that said, the leather handles are a welcome addition because they add a level of premium quality to this overall. A couple of other things you're going to notice is we've got gunmetal hardware, we've got YKK zippers, a ton of different zippers. There's a lot of organization on this bag, and we'll talk a bit about that in a second. But overall, the build quality and the construction of this bag has held up really well over time. Like I mentioned, dozens and dozens of flights all over the world. And again, moving this in between airports, under the seat of an airplane, in the overhead compartment, into the Uber and hotels. This thing gets moved around just as much as I do. So I like the nylon construction because it's low maintenance. It's not something I have to worry about. I don't have to baby this bag as much. You've also got these little metal feet on the bottom, and the nylon on the bottom is reinforced with extra padding. And because of this, I can kind of treat this bag not as delicately as I would, say, an all leather weekender or one of my nicer designer bags. And it's because of this combination of materials and construction that makes this a great travel companion, because in all honesty, I don't really have to worry too much about this bag getting banged up or scuffed up. The material isn't overly fragile or sensitive to the environment. It's water resistant. Yes, the leather is really nice, but I don't have to baby this either. It's supple, it's pretty strong, and overall, it makes me feel good shoving this under the seat of dozens of different airplanes, throwing it into the overhead compartment, dropping it on the floor of an airport, and just kind of moving it about. And that's the thing that I will call out is, for some of you that are in the market, I think there is a place for all leather, high quality, and potentially designer travel bags. I have a bunch of those and I love them. But for those of you that are frequent flyers, that are really looking to just get in and out of an airport, get to your destination with your essentials, traveling with these higher end bags tends to be tough because there are other things you need to think about, right? Is shoving it under the seat going to scratch up the leather? Is it safe in the overhead compartment? Do I want to put it down on the floor of this dirty airport? Yes, those thoughts go through my mind all the time with some of my other bags. With this, I know it's built really, really well. The material is a good mix between value and quality. So it's never been a problem for me, and I don't mind using this bag the way it's intended to be used, which is a kind of go anywhere travel companion. All right, let's keep moving through it because, yes, materials and build are really important. The other piece is the actual organization and construction of the bag itself, the functionality of the bag. So what you're going to notice here is we've got lots and lots of zippers on this bag, and I use all of them for when I travel because everything has its place. Each pocket has its own unique size and shape, which happens to work perfectly for all of the different types of gear that I bring when I travel. Not just clothes, but my camera gear, my power banks, my phones and accessories, and my cables. Everything has its place in the bento bag, and that's one of the reasons why it's been such a successful bag for me to travel with. It has held its place in my roster quite well compared to other bags that I test because of all the built-in organization. And I'll give you a few examples here. First, we've got these little corner pockets. You can hear the zippers are nice and smooth, but these corner pockets are great because, one, it's maximizing all of the space in the bag. It uses this kind of top right and top left hand corner, which occasionally when I'm filling up a bag, things don't tend to spill up that high. So I have access to this corner pocket, and because it's in the corner, it's easy to open. You can grab things from it. If it's under a seat, I can just pull the bag out slightly and I can get to this corner pocket. In here is a good amount of depth. You can see that my entire hand is in here wide open, but I throw cables, power banks, wallets, things that I need quick access to when I'm sitting down in the plane. So I can just pull this out slightly from under the seat, zip this open, and I can grab whatever I need. And I just like that. It's convenient. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to open up one of the larger compartments and dig through this large bag. We have quick access right here on both corners, whatever you need. Another thoughtful example, and I'm not going to go through every single pocket. I have a full review up on my channel, but the things that make it really nice and why it's been great for long-term travel are a few things, right? So here is our luggage pass-through compartment. Hopefully you can see, but again, Nomad Lane was really thoughtful in putting a zipper here, because when I want to use it as a luggage pass-through, of course I can unzip it, but when I'm not using it for that purpose, I can close it and I've got an additional pocket. So we're maximizing the material, the functionality of the bag here, and this just gives you a little bit more storage. If you want to throw anything in here, you can. And continuing along that vein, we've also got a hidden pocket here. This is where I put my passport. It's held together by magnets, but really tiny. You just slide your passport or your wallet or something thin in here, and it keeps it relatively well hidden away. And continuing to talk about utility and why it's done such a good job as the long-term travel companion is, again, how unique it is in the way it opens. The bento bag is kind of designed to be a hybrid between a carry-on suitcase and a weekender and a personal carry. It kind of does everything, which is interesting. But for me, as a personal carry-on bag, I like the clamshell style opening only for a, weekender style bag. I've got clamshell opening backpacks that I do not like. But for this particular design, everything works out really well because we've got the bag open. I've got a nice mesh pocket here. You can fill this with clothes, socks, just whatever you want to carry that is essential that you want to kind of seal up very easily. On this side, we've got our laptop pocket, our iPad pocket, and this pocket also zips fully open for you to store more gear. So usually when I travel, what I do is I keep tech on one side, travel essentials, clothing, other pieces on the other. So on this side, you're gonna find a laptop, an iPad, And then I'll open this up and I'll have my camera gear, my tech gear, my drones, whatever I need to bring for this trip from a technology perspective, right? So again, usually you're gonna find a camera in here, some lenses, batteries, power banks, Wi-Fi routers, all of the goods in different pouches, cables. And on this side with the mesh pocket is probably a couple days worth of clothes, pair of pants, some socks, underwear, t-shirts. Normally, I also travel with a carry-on suitcase, but I try to keep an emergency set of clothes here in case something happens to that suitcase, or if I check my suitcase with clothing in it and I just want to get on the plane with a single bag, I always keep a spare set of clothes here just in case I get to my destination, something gets lost, whatever, you just never know. But that's what this pocket is perfect for. All right, so we talked about the build materials, we talked about the organization and the functionality. Now let's talk about the size. That is, again, one of the top 3 factors that makes this bag really good and easy to travel with. Is it hits a bit of a sweet spot, right? It's about 24 liters of overall storage. Again, you saw how it's broken up and how it's organized, so it's 24 really effective liters. But because of that, this bag does not end up being very large. It's no bigger than some of the travel backpacks that I've seen, but because of the way everything is organized and constructed and kind of internally sealed up, you don't have a lot of extra straps, you don't have a lot of extra things protruding that make the bag's footprint much bigger than the actual amount of storage. So what that means for me is, this is it. Everything that's in here fits within the confines of this bag, of course, but there aren't random straps and other things or little pockets that are protruding. So when this is full, it fits under the seat the same way it fits in the overhead compartment. It makes it really easy to move around. And because of the way that it's designed, how clean it is, things don't get snagged, things don't get caught. And that's a big deal when you're traveling all the time and you're in a lounge in an airport, you're trying to get in and out of places quickly. I've had backpacks that just have a ton of extra straps and random things and little pockets. They get caught on the side of the airplane seat. They get caught when you're trying to pull it out from under the seat. Sometimes they just get in the way when you're trying to move it in and out of an overhead compartment. So for me, what I really enjoyed about this is the combination of how clean the design is and how well they've maximized the overall space on the inside. It keeps the external shape of this bag really just clutter, strap, snag free. And for me, that also adds to just the overall aesthetics of the bag. I don't like to travel with ugly bags. I know that's a subjective word as well. I like minimal, I like clean, I like a timeless design because oftentimes I'm traveling for work or I'm going to a conference. I want my travel gear to look good and look professional. So I don't love traveling with like a hiking backpack or something that, yes, can hold 40 liters full of stuff, but it just looks like you're on your way into the Nevada mountains, right? I want something that's very clean, very professional, very flexible in how I want to use it. And that's why the Bento Bag version 4 has lasted this long in my travel bag kind of roster. So those are all the reasons why I really like it and why it's gone with me on every single trip over the last several months. Let's talk a bit about some of the things that I think could be improved. I shared this in my review as well. So let's talk about the first piece. I think the interior could use a bit of an upgrade. Not from a color perspective. I actually like a light interior lining because it's high contrast against my all black gear. I just think the materials themselves didn't have to be like that nylon. It could be maybe something a bit softer, maybe some elements of microfiber could be in here. There's a lot of opportunity to spice up and just improve the internal quality. Because the outside looks great, it holds up really well to all of the kind of abuse. So you can get away with potentially a more delicate, higher end interior. I think the same goes for this piece. I've got a big issue with Velcro in higher end bags or premium bags. I personally just don't like it. I think there are more elegant, higher quality ways to secure a laptop pocket versus using Velcro. Velcro is not something that holds up well over time, especially if you're using it constantly. It's a sound that I don't particularly like. Every time I use Velcro, it just reminds me of Velcro shoes from Payless. Not that it's this extreme. Again, we're looking for areas for improvement. Velcro is just not it for me. I think there are other options that we could have gone with. And finally, my last critique, and an area where I'd really like to see improvement, especially in version 5, is the zippers. So there are lots of different zippers here, which is great. That tells you how much storage there is. They use high quality YKK ones, but I would personally prefer a Gore-Tex lining, some type of weather resistant zipper, because the nylon and the leather itself is going to hold up fine to rain and water and the materials. But if you're stuck in the rain, these zippers are your vulnerability, right? That's the weakness here. These are just kind of your classic YKK zippers. I mean, at least for the main clamshell compartment, you should try to do that in a Gore-Tex zipper, something that is water resistant. But I'd say that's the only thing that's going to keep this from being perfect in almost every scenario, is that waterproofing of the zippered areas. But overall, I mean, this bag has been the one I've traveled the most amount of miles with consistently, other than some of my favorite carry-on suitcases. This thing has held up really well. I mean, no damage. It looks almost new. You know, everything is pretty much looking clean across the board. It's the amount of organization that's built into this bag that's made it so useful across all these different trips to all these different climates and countries, all these different use cases. There's a pocket for everything. There's a way to organize all of that stuff into 24 very efficient liters of storage. That is why this bag has been such a great travel companion on 50,000 miles of travel around the world. All right, with that said, if you want even more information, I have a full review on the bag and unboxing and walkthrough. Check that out. I'll leave some links in the description below, but if you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe for more just like this. I will catch y'all in the next one.